He's the architect of the Lions, the man whose job it is to find the very best players for the Dan Campbell system. Today, it was Brad Holmes' turn to speak out about the team's success this past season and making the next one even better.
Oh, yeah, and Bernie, when Brad Holmes walked up to that podium today, he seemed like he was fired up about the future.
Through most, yes, about the future, no question, and he was pumped for good reason. The Lions had just played in the NFC title game, and even though they didn't win, their future looks immensely bright, which is something you rarely heard here in the past 20, 30 years. Standing by live with more on what Holmes said is Hobie RT. Good evening, Hobie.
Hey, what's going on, Bernie? Yes, with an opening statement that lasted more than 10 minutes, Brad Holmes had plenty to say today. He even came in with some receipts, too, defending his draft classes that took a lot of criticism at the time. But Holmes added that this is not an I told you so type of moment. Instead, the Lions play, it did all the talking, something Holmes hopes is the start of something special. Minutes after they walked off of the field in Santa Clara, Lions players immediately talked about being motivated going into next season. That's a sentiment at the top, too.
Look, that was a disappointment, that we didn't make it.
Lions GM Brad Holmes upset by the season ending, but excited about this up-and-coming franchise alongside Dan Campbell.
Our opponents knew who they were getting ready to play when they were ready to face us. Everybody knows what our culture is, and they all know that it's an all-hands-on-deck effort.
This was a Lions season filled with so many memorable moments. I mean, just take your pick, from Brian Branch's pick 6 against the Chiefs to beat the defending Super Bowl champs in Week 1, to beating the Vikings in the last week of the season for the team's first 12-win season in more than 3 decades. And how about hosting a playoff game here at Ford Field for the first time ever? But those experiences have now created the expectation moving forward.
It's only going to get better, okay? We're only going to get better, all right? I don't want anybody to think that this was a one-shot Cinderella magical journey that just happened. No, it's real, all right? This is exactly what it was supposed to happen.
The Lions have decisions to make. Free agency starts in mid-March, with the draft coming to Detroit in April. While potential new players might view this team differently, Holmes says the team's approach will not change in adding the right players to improve.
We don't believe in handouts. We're a culture of accountability and a culture of earning it, and our communication with all our players is there's going to be competition.
The Lions made the leap this year, but taking another step is now the off-season focus.
Over the next few months, every move that we make, it's to win in December. It's not to win March, April, and May.
Holmes also added that every move the Lions make will be intentional. Every one they do or do not make. Some big dates coming up for the Lions and the NFL, too. The Combine coming up at the end of February, with free agency set to start on March 13th. We're live outside Ford Field tonight. Hobie RT, Local 4.